Going back, I remembered all vividly. My first time at Posey Chapel with a couple of my friends. Nobody was really scared. After all, the sightings were hoaxes and never supported by actual evidence. But being Halloween, something was bound to happen. And something happened indeed. Because that night was the start of the string of most horrifying ones in my existence. We arrived at the chapel, cracking jokes about the myths we were told about the place, while walking around it aimlessly, not in search of anything in specific. After 5 minutes in our journey, I saw something in the midst of the churchyard. An all-white figure. From what I could tell, he was near the age of 10. He had no eyes, just black pits where his eyes should have been. I looked at my friends for reassurance that it wasn't just my imagination, that this was real. They told me they could see him too, but just vaguely. He was about a football field away. It was hard to tell what we were looking at, so naturally we strained to get a better look at him. The 4 of us started to walk slowly toward him, not particularly looking to hurt him in any sort of way. Once we reached a certain point, I instantly felt some sort of connection with him. I was the only one he looked at. Considering he had black pits for eyes, the others could see him looking at me, intently. And we decided to leave, afraid. We got in the car and waited about 5 minutes before leaving, just to see if anything would happen. Nothing did. But the minute my head hit the pillow that night is when things did start to happen. That first Halloween, 2014, I had a dream about him. The boy from the chapel. It was all recap from that night, except for everyone's teeth were rotted and had cavities. These dreams occurred each night for 8 days. Within each dream, he would get about 10 yards closer. The dream would always cut off as I closed my car door. After 8 nights, the dream had occurred 8 nights consecutively, and he was about 20 yards away from me. So we went back to Posey Chapel. The dream stopped after that visit. January 8th, 2015. I'd been staying at my grandmother's that week as my bathroom was being renovated. I was on the couch where I'd been sleeping. This night had started as an otherwise normal one. I was casually browsing Facebook, listening to a podcast, one earbud in. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but then the lights and TV went out, and I heard scratching coming from the basement. It started coming up the stairs. Gradually, it got louder and louder, until I thought I was going to lose it. Then abruptly, silence. I looked toward the stairway door to see what it was, but saw nothing. Questioning it, I turned back, and I got a glance down the main hallway, where I saw a streak of white. Terrified, I was hesitant to look back, but I seemed drawn to it. So I looked, despite my gut feeling, and there he was. The boy without eyes. He stood there, with intent but lack of emotion, for at least 20 minutes, and then disappeared. Or so I thought. I looked outside my window, and there he was, hanging from the barren tree. I thought I was going insane, hallucinating. My brother claimed not to be able to see him, so why could I? I snapped a picture of the tree from inside, sending it to the group chat I was in. Nobody saw anything except what they thought was snow, but I knew it was him. Gathering my courage and going against my gut, I went outside to take a different picture, this time with the flash on. I cracked open the door, as I didn't want to leave the comfort of the house, no matter if he could get inside. This time, he was sitting in the tree rather than hanging from a noose. That was what struck me as extremely odd. I took the picture despite this changed position and rushed inside, sending it to the group chat again. This time, they could see him. He stood out against the snow as a lighter, blurrier white. After this, I felt compelled to go back outside and face him, ask him what he wanted from me. So once again, I gathered up my courage and went back into the freezing winter night. I looked up at him in the tree and yelled, "What do you want from me?" 10 seconds silence filled the chilly air, and then